Hey, welcome to the channel. It's Jack with Stronghold Strength and Conditioning. And today we're talking about why all that stretching you're doing for your IT band isn't working. But before we get into it, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine. And it doesn't get much better than that. So take advantage of it. Ready? Let's go ahead and dive into this one. Alright, like I said, today we're going to be looking at why stretching your IT band isn't helping. Or maybe you even tried some smashing or self-myofascial release techniques like rolling out your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes a little bit. And they seem to help with the pain a little bit, but long term, it just keeps coming back. And that's because you are not getting to the actual root of the problem. So what we're going to do today is look at the two areas that are acting together to be the root problem of your IT band syndrome. So we want to identify, first of all, what's going on at our base, and second of all, what's going on at the driver of our lower body that creates the stability. And when we look at the base, this is going to be our foot. So if you guys have limited toe extension, where you can't bend your toes, if you were to like sit butt to heels with your toes tucked under, that would be very uncomfortable for you. Maybe you even have bunions that have started, or your feet want to turn out so that you avoid extension when you walk, or you drop foot, you have no arch, a flat foot altogether. These are things that could be driving your IT band syndrome from the ground up. When you don't have a good base, what happens if that arch collapses or if our foot turns out is that our knee starts to cave inward. And as a way of creating stability, our body will tighten up the musculature toward that lateral portion and put more force directly on that IT band. So this is why providing relief in the form of massaging these muscles around it can be helpful, but it's not a long-term solution, because if you never correct the base, you're always going to be moving incorrectly and creating a position that makes it always come back. So the first thing we want to do is really make sure we have the foot mobility that we should. And in order to do that, that's a whole topic in itself. You can watch this video right here, and that will help guide you, getting you back to barefoot. A big part of this, I'll give you a hint, is getting out of shoes that promote narrow foot and have a heel drop or a shortened toe box where they kind of crunch the toes up, kind of like a running shoe. This is very common in runners because of the footwear that they choose to wear for their sport. And that's just something that you need to understand. Footwear that we wear directly affects our foot and how our foot is able to connect with the ground and the stability and mobility that we have based off of that. So check out this video right here. Make sure you watch that, start working on those exercises, and restore your base. It's going to take time, it'll take repetition, but with time and repetition you can restore the intrinsic strength of your foot and the overall mobility, which will give you a solid base so that your structure is not completely collapsing inward always and always putting stress on that IT band there. Now the second part of that is actually the hip, which is our driver of some of that as well. So strengthening our hip will also help with our foot mobility and strength, whether we have arches or not. So we can look at, first of all, do we have the range of motion of the hip that we should? Flexion, extension, internal rotation, external rotation, abduction, adduction. Those things should all be there at their full range, and especially external rotation and internal rotation become very important when it comes to talking about the stability of our leg and what that transfers downward. So when we think about stability, those come from rotational force. So the hip is a ball and socket joint. When we have rotation, that's what makes it more stable through the system of the leg. So what we see is kind of a ringing effect, or that wringing out a towel effect, that creates a nice stable leg all the way through to the foot and ground, as long as we also have that base. They're cyclical, they feed back off of one another. So if our foot is off, it's going to affect our hip, and if our hip is off, it's going to affect our foot. So that's why we need to look at both to make sure that both are working in the way that they should to create a stable system through our leg. And that'll help us overall alleviate the knee pains and the IT band syndromes and all that stuff that happens in between for good. So if you need to work on your hip mobility and check out your hip stability, you can check out this video right here, which again, if you have IT band syndrome and the stretching isn't working, the rolling is only temporary, these are going to be the long-term fix solution. We need to know how to move well with stability so that our body can take that structure and stop overloading these soft tissues, causing them to pull at that IT band tighter. Again, the quadriceps right up next against that IT band, hamstrings right up against that IT band, glutes connected into that IT band, and TFL. All that musculature on that lateral side is trying to create stability to keep your body from caving inward. And it's only going to release temporarily until you start moving again. So this is how you're going to fix it. Fix the base, and then fix the driver of that system of the leg through strengthening and stability, and that is your long-term solution.
Alright, if you like this video, make sure you let me know by clicking that big thumbs up down below, and take a moment to share this one with a friend, especially if you know they suffer with lateral knee pain or anything along the outside of that leg. Share the love with them. If you are someone who is looking to improve your mobility in the next 90 days, if you want to get rid of that IT band syndrome in the next 90 days, and you need direct coaching, what I want you to do is drop down below in the description and fill out the coaching application form. What I'll do is get in contact with you so we can start a conversation and get you moving in the right direction with that. If you have not already, last but not least, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine, and it doesn't get much better than that. Welcome to the Stronghold Army. Catch you next week.